Hi, it's Shawn with ShawnMosh.com. Today, I want to show you a project that was actually a question in my Facebook group. People wanted to know how to make these kind of flowers where you either put a word inside the stem or you could even do a name. There are some that have a straighter stem and some that have kind of a curvy stem. Like here's one with more of a straight stem, but then this one's got kind of a swirl. Ooh, that one's really fun too. So let's look at these and break them down. There's the top part that looks like the flower. If you want to do a straight stem, that's going to be really easy. That's a real skinny rectangle. And then you have the font. Now, if you want to have like the cute little curl at the end, like some of these have, those are going to be glyphs. Those are very special fonts that include that little swish or glyph. So if you want to include those, you're going to have to look for fonts specifically with a glyph included. So I'm going to show you some different options. Now, I already went and downloaded a bunch of different fonts because I want to play with different things to see what works best. How I found these, I went to dafont.com. For tops of flowers, I went under dingbat fonts and under nature, and I did find some cute flower tops. I mean, look at these. These would be super cute. So then you just click the download button. And things like these would be for the top of the flower. So go through, I mean, if you want more of a doodle kind of flower, these would be great too. So download some different ones. Then, to find fonts that have those little swooshes or glyphs, I went under script and calligraphy. And there's all kinds of different ones. And some of them, oh, that one's cute. Sorry, got distracted. Some of them, you might look at it and think it's a pretty font, but it doesn't show a glyph. So then if you go and look specifically at that font, you can go in deeper and see, oh, there is a glyph. So this is showing that how to add that glyph would be you do a little underscore. So when you're typing up your words, you're going to type underscore the word and then underscore. What key to use for the glyph is going to be different for every font. So make sure to either look at this and save this off somewhere, or I'll show you how to use the character map. So once you've downloaded your fonts, they're going to be in your downloads folder. Now you can see I downloaded a lot of different fonts and different designs to kind of play with. I will play around with some and then tell you the ones I think I like the best, but you might like something different. Once you have your font downloaded, you're going to see that they come in this folder with the zipper icon. That means it's a zipped folder. What that means is that all of the data that's in this font, it's a lot of information. So to compress it and make it a faster download, the designer put it in a zipped folder. It like compresses everything down. So we have to get them out of this zip folder. How to open up a zip folder and extract everything out of it is going to be different for every device you're working on. For my Windows-based computer, I can just right-click on the folder and I get an extract all option. And then if you look here, this folder location is the folder I'm in. So it's going to put the extracted file exactly in the same folder. And there it is here. So once I've extracted everything from the folder and made a folder I can get into, I can delete this one. I'm going to do that for all of these folders off camera. and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Now that I have all the folders unzipped and everything extracted so I can really get at what I want to work with, I'm going to double click on the folder to open it up. This one was an SVG file, so the words are already in there. I might take a look at that, but not right now, because I want to show you how to do this yourself. I double click on this one. You're going to see a file that is an OTF. So anything with a .otf is going to be a text file or a font. So I'm going to double click on this one, and this is showing me the different elements that are in this. And I'm just going to click install. So now this is installing this font onto my computer. That means when I go into Cricut Design Space, this font is going to show up under System Fonts. If I want to use the same font on my phone or on my iPad, I have to install it on those devices. You do not upload your fonts to Design Space. You install them on the device you're working with. So for each one of these folders, I'm going to have to go in and find the OTF, or there's also a thing called TTF. So technically a OTF is a better font file than a TTF. So if you get one that has options of both, take the OTF. If you don't have any options, like this one, just take what they give you. And now you can see there's all kinds of fun little images and designs we can play with. So you just double click on the file to open it up and install. And you're going to do that for every one of these files. If there's a PNG in there, you can double click on that, and that's going to show you the name of the font. So this one has both an OTF and a TTF. You should use the OTF. This one's nice because it's going to give us the top of the flower plus the start of the stem. And right here you can see under type, the OTF is an open type font. I know this one says true type, but trust me, OTF is better than TTF. I'm going to just keep going through all of these folders and installing my different fonts, and then we'll go into Cricut Design Space so I can show you how to use all these. Okay. Now we're in Cricut Design Space, and I want to take a look at the different fonts. So I'm going to click on my text button, and I'm just going to type up the word love. When I go under the font pull down, the system fonts are going to be all of the fonts that I downloaded and installed to my device. So you can see I typed in the word flower, and here's some of the ones I just downloaded. So if I click on this one, and then when I click on the grid over here, you can see it changed the font. I'm going to change the color of it just so it's nice and crisp. Here's something I do a lot when I'm trying to decide on what font I want to use. I might type in this font and go, it's really pretty. And if I keep going through my different fonts, I'm going to forget which one was which. So if you go duplicate, and I just did that by right clicking and then choosing duplicate, then I can go back to that same search and just click on the next one down. It used to just change it right away. Now I found you either have to wait a little bit or click on the grid. So now I can start to see what each different font looks like. So this one is the flower icons. So those are going to be the ones that I could use for the tops of the flowers. The other way to duplicate is to do a Control C and Control V on your keyboard. For me, this just really helps me keep track of my fonts. And then when you click on it, you can see it says Signature Flowers, this one, and Beauty Flowers, this one. So I'm going to keep doing this process, but I'm going to stop the video for a while so that you don't have to sit here and watch me change it to every single font there is. So now you can see I've separated them by the fonts that I installed and the fonts that are dingbat fonts, which are a dingbat font basically means that instead of a letter, you're going to see an image. So how do we know if any of these have glyphs? I'm going to go down into my search bar on my computer, and I'm going to type in character map. So now I can double click on that, and that brings up this new window. This is your character map that shows you all of the different fonts that you have installed. And then it will show you if it has a glyph. So this is the I Love Glitter font, which was very popular a couple of years ago. And you can see there's a glyph, there's a glyph. And I can start to add them down here. So I could use those. And I know these ones were called things like flower. So let's see if we can find any of the flower ones. Flower icons. Okay, so this is nice because this is going to show us all the different flower icons for that font. I'm going to start to go through some of these different fonts and see off of the character map which ones really come with the different glyphs and tails. And I clicked on this first font here it's called Shorelines. So that I went into my character map and filtered to Shorelines. And I could see there's a bunch of little swirls in here. Not all fonts that show up that have the glyphs actually contain the glyphs in the free version. Sometimes they trick you and show them on the preview, but you have to go purchase the full font in order to get all the little glyphs. So that's why I had to kind of go look. So now after going through all of these different fonts, I found that some had the tails or glyphs on the ends of the letters. Some had it where the glyphs were totally separate and you would then connect them to the word. I actually like this one the best. Not all of these had glyphs, but you know what? If I liked this lettering, I could connect it to this glyph, but I might do that in another video. So what I ended up liking for the word with the glyphs was the Shoreline Script Bold. You might find a different font that you like, but for this demonstration, Shoreline Script Bold is what I'm going with. Now I have to find the flower top that I want to use. I kind of like the flower top here, but these are nice too. So let's look at botany a little closer. I'm going to go back to the character map and change it to botany. So now I can start to hover over these different ones and look at them. And I wish there was a way to make these bigger. Because those are so tiny, I might go look at the actual font. So here I am back at the font. I'm going to click on this one and I can scroll down. And this is going to tell me if I type in A, I'm going to get this floral design. So I'm just looking to see if there's one I want to go with. kind of like the rose, a lowercase a. And I like the tulip. Okay, A and V and X, AVX. All right, let's go back to Cricut Design Space. And I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to put a lowercase a in there. So that could be one idea. So that's the same flower, it's just flipped. Okay. Let's do these two. So now I can delete all of these. So what you actually have to type in order to get the little swirls is a parenthesis, love, and then the other parenthesis. You can find that out by looking at the character map, going over to look at the font on the font, or just trust me and use that. Okay. Because I want the word to be turned and rotated, I am going to rotate it 270 degrees. And now I want it to kind of match up with this. So what I could do is cut part of this off to make them connect, or if you wanted to leave that little swoop in there, you could totally do that too. I'm going to make another copy of this just so I can show you how I would do it over here too. So I think I'm going to try to trim this off so that this would be a straighter connection. So if I put in a shape of a square, and then I select the word and the square and use combine and subtract, see how I just removed that part of the tail? Oh, so since I did subtract with this one, and I know this is how I want it to stay, I can use merge layers. And that's going to make this one connected piece. And now I can just line it up so it kind of touches that flower. And I can even make this flower a little bit smaller so that the stems are closer to the same size. That's actually getting really good. All right. Now when I zoom back out, I can select this flower and the word love and use weld. And that joined them together. Yes, I made this super big because I was doing for the example, but then I could reduce it to 11.5. So that's what it would look like. Now, let's say you wanted to have a little bit more beef to it and more thickness. You could add an offset around this, and then you cut the offset and then attach this flower to the top. So if I use offset, and that blue outline is showing me how big my offset is. Now I click apply. I'm going to change the color of that to red. Maybe not that dark of a red. Up here in the rose, I can see some grid lines through the offset. So on the layer that says offset, I'm going to use contour. And I'm going to fill those in by clicking on these little sections. So now it's a solid piece. And right now it's going to tell me I have to put this on a larger cutting mat because now the overall size is 11.72. But if I group this, now I can resize all of this together. So it's 11.5 and now it would fit on a Cricut cutting mat. So with this one, if I look at the way those curve, it's going to look weird because this is curving this way and then this is curving that way. So I'm actually going to flip it horizontally. So now when I go to set that in there, see how that curve looks better? Let's do the same thing with slicing off or cutting off the top part of this tail. Shape, square. You could use slice to cut this off, but I like to use subtract because subtract will get rid of the pieces I don't want. If I use slice, I would still end up with a square here and the little tail that I would have to delete. So just use subtract and you're good to go. Then go back under combine and say merge your layers so it keeps it one piece. And now I'm going to zoom in. Because with this one, I'm going to make the flower a little bigger because I'm trying to get those stems to be kind of the same thickness so that it looks consistent. I'm almost there. Just a little more. There is no exact science to this. It's just lining it up. So now I can select both of these and use weld to join them together. This is really long. I could cut this on a extra long mat, or I could make it 11.5 and now it would cut on a standard size mat. So there's a couple different options for you. You could also go under images and search flower. And because I like to look for freebies, I filter to free. There's not as much. This is one from a cartridge that I purchased back when Cricuts were a brand new thing and everything was on cartridges. This one might actually have some cute stuff. So if I open up this one to look at it deeper, if I scroll to the bottom, it says sets with this image. I do remember that it was called Botanicals, so I'm going to click on that. Botanicals had a font, but it also had images. And you know those shaped edge cards that are so popular right now? It's already set up for you in here. So there might be some other images in here that might be nice to use. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I love to hear from you.